I think I always made the comment that once a miller, always a miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello everybody and welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast and we have a loss to talk about. First defeat of the year. The unbeaten run comes to an abrupt end at Burton Albion yesterday. Bottom of the league, Burton Albion as they were. We will talk about what went wrong, which is quite a lot. And then we'll go from there. We've got another game Tuesday. We can preview Cambridge United coming to town on Tuesday evening. Mick's back with us. How you doing, Mick?
All good, mate. Thank you. You?
Very, very good. Thank you very much. And Tom's back. How are we doing, Tom?
Yeah, not as good as I was after those first 2 minutes. Jesus Christ, that was some start to the weekend.
It was. Yeah, it was. More importantly, Mick, do we have a Terry's chocolate orange cream egg update?
I've not been able to find it. I've not been able to get out to Iceland yet, but I'm on it. I'm on it. This week, it'll be my sole purpose in life.
Fair enough. We had a comment from somebody commented on last week's episode today. Jan Murray said you can get chocolate orange cream eggs at the garage in Tickle. So if you can't get to Iceland, Mick, Tickle, yeah, it's a trek, but it's worth it. It's a nice place. Stop and have a pint while I'm there. Yeah, sounds good. So that's for next week, isn't it? On June and Thursday to find out if Mick finally gets his hands on a chocolate orange cream egg.
Yeah.
Richard's with us, as is Sarah Ogden, Martin Holland. Kelly Phillips says, evening all. Do they call that a hiccup? Noel Jordan down. Cook's with us. One rags to riches is from Ian from South Australia. All the one with there. Steve Grundy is with us. Richard says, evening all, cancel the humble pie. Chris Page says, back to square one. Shellstone, normal service renewed. Resume, football lads with us, as is Lisa Ball. Peter Jefferson says, back to square one. Tom, 4-2 defeat. We'll come into the specifics later, and then we'll talk about Lewis Sibley and transfers and whatever as well in a bit. But that was frustrating, wasn't it? That was such an annoying performance after, from 5 minutes onwards.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating because look, I weirdly enough thought, credit to Burton, I thought they looked more dangerous than Charlton and Bolton combined, which is, says a lot about this league. But they're a team that haven't won at home. I've won once at home, so they're clearly not a world beater in this league. And it was frustrating because there was points in that second half where we put them under a bit of pressure and they crumbled. And it's really frustrating to have all that confidence. Sort of, you can see it deteriorate throughout the game, and and especially after the first 5 minutes, because those first 5 minutes were good. You've got Louis Sibley scoring 2 minutes into his debut, almost in the away end with the fans, and everything seemed like it was going on to be a 3 or 4-0 battering, and it ended up being the other way around. So there was a lot of things that went wrong, which I'm sure we'll get on to. A lot of things that were a bit unlucky, but end of the day, they deserved the win. So you can't complain at that result. No,
I agree. And Mick, it did seem like 2 minutes in, you're kind of thinking, here we go. This is going to be 3-0. This is going to be really comfortable. They've had a tough week. Here we go. And Burton all credit to them. They just I know we helped them along the way, certainly in the first goal, but they kind of stood up and went, no, we're not having that, boys. We're here to fight for our lives in this division. It's not going to be that easy for you. And we just didn't react. They reacted brilliantly. We didn't react to their reaction.
No, we didn't. We didn't at all. When we played them earlier on in the season, for parts of the game, in parts of the pitch, they're a decent side. But then at our place, once they started getting forward, they had nothing. They were completely toothless. So yesterday, what we did, we laid the red carpet out in midfield for them, didn't we? And allowed them to get up pitch. And then obviously they punished us for it. It looked like a good start, a dream start for the team, and dream start for Sibley on his debut as well. Second or third touch of ball, and it's in back at net. Finished it really, really well. but from that point onwards, it was a bit of a shambles, really. It was kind of, and I know a few people have made the comment already, it was kind of normal service being resumed in terms of just poor, just really, really poor, a bit clueless at times. There were flashes of decent football, but in the main, we never really got in the game after they equalised. That kind of, I don't know, why would it knock the stuffing out of a team that's 6 games unbeaten? What I don't understand, but it did, or it seemed to do anyway. And we offered very little from that point onwards, did we? Even when we got the second goal back. At that point you think, look, there's 20-25 minutes left, push on. We can, if we get another goal quickly, they'll collapse because of the fragile confidence. But we didn't put the pressure on. We just didn't do anything really. It was a massively disappointing performance all around for me.
Yeah, it was. Also, still got his goal second minute. Bodvarsson equalised within 6 minutes. Is that? And then they go there and they have a 10-minute spell either side of half time. Well, 8-minute spell, 39 minutes, 41 minutes, and 47 minutes. The first one, particularly, Tom, is Alex McDonald half clearance, and we've been positive about Alex McDonald the last few games, but that kind of clearance for the first goal kind of summed up his afternoon. Really, he was exploited. The space out near him was exploited, and he was just well off it, which is going to happen, I suppose, with somebody like McDonald, who's not an amazing player. It was, but the fact he had such an off day helped Burton massively because they were great down his side.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, they look leggy, all of them, and obviously there was poor performances across that 11, but they all looked a little less, a yard or two off it, and whether it is tiredness or they were just off it is, yet to be seen. But I mean, it's a really poor clearance for that first goal, and he's never been. I feel like I've seen him do that 3 or 4 times, especially when he was playing at right back. He's never the most assured player when he's defending his own box, and that's fine. It's not his duty, but when you're in there and the ball comes to you, you've got to clear it. But I think, and this isn't an excuse, but there was an absolute dead certain foul on the edge of the box before that went in, with Wilkes being tugged and tugged and it didn't get given, and then there was the scuffing clearance, and then it was a really lucky deflection that went in and looped over Phillips. So look, when that goal went in, I wasn't, in my head, it was unjust. It was against the run of play. I think there was a lot of things, but it gave them confidence, and that's one thing that you didn't want. But I think a lot of that goal was the one mistake in there for me is that it was a bad clearance from McDonald. It sort of hit him, and it's fine. You can make a mistake. It's okay. What happened before and after that is just unlucky, in my opinion. And we should have reacted better than what we did. I don't think that first goal was the issue. It was what happened because of that first goal, because some things in a football game are out of your control. And I think that goal on the whole was probably out of our control because it was a poor decision on the edge of the box. It should have been a foul. We should have closed down the cross, should have cleared it. And then it was a scruffy goal going in. So It was how we reacted after that, and it was not good at all.
No, Nick, and that's the thing. When we spoke last week, particularly the Charlton game, where I know we won the game comfortably, there were moments of adversity in that game, and we talked about how they just didn't impact the players, and they dealt with it really, really well. It couldn't be any more opposite against Saturday against Burton. Every time something went slightly against us, they looked frustrated, they looked unhappy. They looked like they had no backbone again. It looked like that kind of the Wigan and the Mansfield game, going back to and even further. I thought as a personality of the squad, I thought we were past this a little bit. We could have still lost the game if we reacted. But you can't react like that when you concede it was just an equaliser. It's not like we've gone behind. The reaction was so poor.
So why? The question is why. And we can all speculate why, can't we? And I don't know. I don't know the answer. Is it a lack of confidence? Is it we're going to get I've ripped a new one when we get in at half time because we've let 3 goals in, 2 goals in, whatever it is. Is it? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But that lack of confidence shone straight through yesterday when it hasn't done in previous games, in previous games this year so far, but did for the first 23 games of the season. So look, we're quite clearly not over that shambolic start to the season, are we? You know, there are going to be further indications that is still there for whatever reason, whatever it is there. We've all got our own views. You know what my views are and why I think it's there. Other people have it. Other people take a different view. Whatever the fact is, that we are fragile, confidence-wise. Whatever the reason for that, that's not going to go away. I don't think it's going to go away this season. You know, it's just we're just going to have to hope we can do enough, really. Which I think we probably will be comfortable in terms of the bottom end and top end. I think ordinarily it'd be pie in the sky, but this division being what it is, being as poor, so poor, then you know it's never out of the question until it's mathematically done. But I don't know. I don't know what the reason for it is. I don't like it. It's horrible, you know. And it's even more disappointing after having watched 5 or 6 games where we've dominated, and then you know we play bottom of the league away from home. They score a goal, and we just I don't know. We just don't do anything about it. You know. Again, disappointing. You know, we score that first goal, we get the ball out wide, we get a great crossing. How many times do we have to say the same thing? You know. Play with some width, for crying out loud. Play with some width. Every single time we play with some width, we end up causing problems without doubt, without fail. Yet we insist on playing this stupid midfield diamond. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But it's not ridiculous. It's worse.
No, because as soon as a team works you out, Charlton didn't, Bolton didn't, because both of those teams have got managers who were too pig-headed to play anything other than their own style, a bit like ours, right? Boyer's obviously done his own work. Certainly the second goal and the third goal, absolutely almost carbon copies. They just play into a huge gap of space down their left, where there's never been a Rotherham player all game. It probably weren't until the second half till we changed it. You know, we can't. We just, I don't know. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate the way that we play so narrow. And yesterday was exposed for why. You know, we created a bit of width to start with. We score a goal. We get in front, and then we go as narrow as out, and they just exploit both wings. They just ran riot through that midfield because we were in there. We were just too tight, too compact in the centre of the pitch, and they overran us. It's wrong. It's crap. But
it's
that's
not. Yes, they were crap. But the system probably isn't crap.
Like I say, the teams that we played before, you look at the managers there, you look at Everett, you look at Nathan Jones. They are not 2 managers who are going to try and adapt the way that they play to the other teams. What they are going to do is, this is how we play. This is my style. This is it. We ain't going to change. We ain't going to look at the opposition necessarily too deeply. We're going to play our own way. Boyer's not like that, quite clearly. He's looked at how we play and he's seen where the weaknesses are. And he's exploited them very, very well.
But it's not just those, is it? You've got Huddersfield in there as well, who are an excellent team. And we were very, very good against Huddersfield for the second half of the game.
Listen, I'm not trying to decry what we've done so far. The point I'm trying to make is that because of the way that we play, was why we lost yesterday, because they exploited the way that we play, and they took
that's the players though, because we haven't been that narrow before. We played narrower than we would all like, but Alex McDonald will come onto this now, I suppose. Tom, Alex McDonald and Joe Powell Alex McDonald's played worse than that, to be fair, at right back. But certainly Joe Powell, well, they were both individually 2 of the worst players on the pitch for me yesterday. And Mick's right. A lot of certainly the third goal came from Alex McDonald's side, and Joe Powell was trying too many things. And for me, it's an individual issue yesterday rather than a system issue. I don't think the players performed to the way they have done in previous weeks, and that means leaving too many areas too easy to expose. Certainly those two players in particular.
Yeah, and look, with this formation, it does favour the midfield, central midfield, and if you win that midfield battle, then you are going to lose that width battle. And I think the idea with this is that those two on the outside, the McDonald and Powell sort of partnership, is that they'll cover every blade of grass in that sort of inside and outside. And Mick, you've said it for the past 3 or 4 times every time we praise McDonald, is that he tucks in too much. And I think he does. I think you're completely right. I think he tucks in way too much on that right hand side. And I think that Powell does a decent job at sort of maintaining that, defensive cover for James. And as soon as we were getting caught out on that right hand side, we should have just accepted that we were going to lose that midfield sort of central battle, or not even lose it, but sort of have two in there, sort of go to a 4-4-2, which would have been so easy on the pitch to do. But we sort of stuck to our guns, and then Rafferty and James, again, the whole team looked a little bit tired, but it looked really leggy getting out to the width. There's all well and good them playing it out, and sometimes they played it out really well to the wide areas and put in dangerous balls. But sometimes we let them because of a lack of press and a lack of aggression, and it was something that you might say that he did his homework. Maybe he did, but maybe we're still giving him credit, because I think they would have done that anyway. I think a lot of the teams, the Bolton and the Charltons, play a 3-back and they don't play with a lot of width. So if we win the midfield area, we win the midfield area. With them, we should have recognised it and set up as more of a 4-4-2, put Sibley alongside Humphreys rather than behind the two strikers. But that's something that the players have got to suss out themselves, and they didn't. And we're talking like this is doom and gloom, right? But this is one game out of 6 where we've looked crap, and it's against bottom of the league, which is crap, right? But if we can react on Tuesday, I think we can turn it around relatively quickly. And Birmingham is a different kettle of fish. But I think if we can turn it around on Tuesday, which I think they will be, they'll be fired up, absolutely. But the issue for me is they look really leggy, really tired. But yeah, I think we need a better plan for the wide areas when it doesn't work, really. And I agree. I think we get. Like give you your props, Mick. You said that he's tucked in way too much, and it was bound to happen. I think every time you looked at him on the pitch, he was playing basically holding hands with Humphreys, and it's not his job. He should have been further out. Powell was crap. Arguably his worst game on the ball, but off the ball, I thought he did an all right press. He was where he needed to be. But yeah, not that McDonald's bad, and not that this is a one-off game, but I would be looking at someone to replace him, because him playing week in, week out, he looks really leggy, and he looks like he can't cover that blade of grass as much as someone else, and I'd be looking at getting cover there, or change it to a different formation, but we'll see.
At times, it looks similar to when he played right back, where it looks like he's kind of playing in a position he don't really know how to play. Whereas Powell, like I said, was poor yesterday, but defensively was fine.
It leaves us a man short, doesn't it, in that midfield? Because playing Sibley or whoever it is in that kind of number 10 role, because what we're doing, we reverted again to hoofing it back up pitch yesterday and hoping to win that second ball, which we were never going to do. Because we don't have any heights up there for a start, and that's not served as well at any point throughout this season. I think we scored 1 goal from it where Clark Harris flicked on for Green, or for Wilkes, sorry. But that's it. We're 25, 26, 27 games into the season, and we've got 1 goal out of it, so it's clearly not worked. But it leaves us so light in that midfield area, and it doesn't allow McDonald is tucking in, as we've said, it definitely is. You know, left Joe Rafferty exposed so many times yesterday.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, that didn't happen. But yeah, it's not working. That isn't going to work for any length of time. I don't think anyway. That's just my view.
Yeah, I think it's a personal issue rather than a system issue because it works on the other side. Well, we're fine on the other side, so therefore it is a personal issue.
Yeah.
And this just screams to me that we need more depth, we need more idea, because when you looked at the bench, even that starting 11, you felt like you had to start Sibley, and in ideal terms, I know he scored after 2 minutes and whatever, but in ideal terms, you wouldn't have played him. Well, maybe for the last 10-20 minutes, but he's never played for us. Who knows if he even trained? That might have been the first time he's ever touched a ball with those players, and it's a lot to ask of the kid, because it's really not fair. And I think that same 11, you can have consistency with a team and stuff, but if Evans had done his research as much as Bowyer had done his, then he would know to nullify the wide areas, but we have no one to nullify the wide areas. If you looked at that bench, the only player that you could have really brought on was probably like Bramall, who's a natural winger of sorts, or Holmes, and I don't think either of them would have affected the goals as they went in. It was just sort of it was weak, and player wise, I don't think we could have done much more to start the game. I
think Sibley played a lot further forward than McWilliams has been playing.
I agree.
Which then consequently left us light in that centre. Whether that's just because he's been told to play there or whatever, I don't know. But it causes a lot of problems, and that possibly, arguably, dragged McDonald in even more. Whatever. It's ultimately, it was a poor performance.
It was.
And we didn't react to them equalising, and then we just started hoofing it long, and then we never saw a ball again virtually for most of the game.
Yeah,
he did. I think McDonald. I think one of Evans's, I think it's his strengths, but certainly one of his weaknesses is he's quite old school. So if you come in and play well, even if you maybe should come out for the betterment of the team, you're still going to play because you played well in the previous game. I remember the first time round, Tom Hitchcock came on and got a hat trick against Gillingham inside 10 minutes, and then he started the next game against Sheffield United, and it was completely the wrong decision. But because he got a hat trick, Evans did the kind of old school thing. All right, you've earned your place. You play well. It was a wrong decision, and I think we're finding a similar thing with Alex McDonald now. We needed a different person playing in that position yesterday, but because he was good, Evans had to play him in his own kind of man, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Like it rewards performances. Courses is important, certainly in modern day football for me, anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've seen it this season anyway with Hungbo. He had a 10-minute cameo against Wigan and started the next game against Stockport, and it was completely the wrong decision again. But I agree. I think for the betterment of the team, McDonald should be rotated. I mean, he's 34. He's not the most athletic anyway. So to ask him to do 2 games a week for the past 3 weeks, it's tough on the Powells who are, and the Humphreys who are, in peak physical condition, so to say. So for him to then do probably the most running of anyone on the pitch, probably they're not the least athletic one on the pitch. No offense to him if he is watching. It's a tough ask of him, really. And again, it's not his fault. He had a bad game. It didn't make him a bad player. He just had a bad game. That was it.
No, I agree. Completely agree. Obviously, McDonald's getting a bit of stick on here this evening. Has been really good for the last 4 games. Hindsight. He's been but as Mick's pointed out a few times, he's had his defensive issues. Defensive not an issue, but positional issues over the last 5 or 6 games as well. So he's not been perfect. I wouldn't say.
But listen, when he gets on the ball, his delivery into the box is excellent. He's really, really good. The issue is, and again, and I don't think it's necessarily down personally. I don't think it's necessarily down to him. It's a formation issue, and what he's being asked to do. Either he's not clear on it, or he's being asked to do too much, or whatever. I'm not criticising McDonald, I think he's played really, really well these last few games and been pivotal to the way that we've played.
Yeah. Sibyl is an interesting one as well because it's a great signing, but he's a very different player to McWilliams, Mick. The reason we've been playing so well last few weeks because McWilliams' energy has been fantastic. He was all over the place. Sibyl is not that kind of guy. He's obviously a player that's going to get on the ball a bit more and create something, which we have absolutely been lacking. We have been lacking that without doubt. But then you've got to question, right, okay, if we're going to do that, if you're not going to have a McWilliams-style player in there, do we need to change the system slightly? Because Sibley's not going to do that running and you're going to potentially outnumbered in the midfield, which is going to cause McDonald to come in there. He's an interesting signing. I wonder if he needs to... I don't know where he fits in after one game. You know what I mean? But
I would argue just on one game showing, on yesterday's showing, that, like I just said earlier on, maybe he should be playing a little bit deeper than he was. Because that way he can get on the ball and he can create something for the two pacey players in front of him. And they are going to cause problems. You know, if he can fire those passes through that defence, then Wilkes and Green will find it. So I don't know. Listen, it's easy to say on one showing, one poor team performance. You know, I don't know. Scott Kent there in the comments is saying he is a number 10, and that's fine. That if that's where he plays, but we need to be able to get something behind him. You know, and so maybe, arguably, the 5-3-2, 3-5-2 setup is better.
Yeah,
I think had we stopped, well, yeah, we've not done very well with that this season at any point, have we? Albeit the second half yesterday, apart from their goal, which was poor, the fourth goal, we were defending for that. We didn't look in any trouble really after that point, did we? But again, didn't create much, so don't know.
No. Scott Kent comments earlier said all the players are blamed for yesterday. Can't blame Evans for any of that. Steve Gauntlet said, good evening, all. He says, fault for 2 goals. Goalkeeper at fault for 2 goals on Saturday. Very harsh for me. Very, very harsh. I don't know what you think, Tom, but maybe for the third one, he's pushed it. I felt like he pushed it out quite wide.
And it was a good save anyway, I think. Yeah. From the original save.
Another good save as well. I thought he had a good game. As good as you can because of the fault. No,
absolutely. I'd struggle to pin any blame on Phillips. I mean, maybe. I mean, the one thing you could maybe argue is that he's not as kind of imposing, I guess, with crosses in the box, and a lot of goals came from crosses in the box. I mean, particularly their second goal from the corner. If I remember correctly, he came out for it but didn't get to it, which is, you know, when you commit, you got to get there. So you could argue it was his fault for that one, but
it was blocked though.
Yeah, he was blocked. He should have. You know, Jules didn't challenge for the header, and you know it's a good ball in and a good header, and it's tough to blame him for that. You can't look at that performance and go, yeah, keeper was awful, because it's not fair. He wasn't fantastic in for that second goal, but there was another 3 that went past him that were not his fault, in my opinion. That were, that third goal. Yeah, you can argue he's pushed it back out into an area, but it's an instinct save at the best of times. Anyway, you know, it's come in low, hard, and all he's done is sort of got down low and got a hand to it, and it's just happened to go to Bodvarsson, and that's it's not good defending beforehand. So I wouldn't even blame him for that. And the fourth one is again a ball to the back post, which maybe he should claim, but not his man. I just think it was. I think it's very harsh to look at that performance and blame the goalkeeper, because there were so many other issues that were a lot worse than his performance.
I agree. You come in that same side, Mick, or?
I think he could have done better for fourth. I think his positioning weren't great. But he should have been defended better Both the cross and the cross coming in and the cross once it was in should have both been defended better. And I thought it was both from the corner, the goal that was scored from a corner. I don't know whether somebody said he were blocked. He weren't blocked. He definitely wasn't.
It was blocked by his own man. His own man got in the way of him. I'm not saying it's a foul, but there was somebody in his way as he tried to get
if his own man's in the way of him, his own man should be on deck, shouldn't he? You know, you're a goalkeeper. That's that you just go through it, don't you? You know. But look, it's harsh blaming him for any of the goals. Realistically, it's a team performance, and it was the team are responsible as a whole for all of it. Not great.
Yeah, happy back to the good old days of miserable podcasting.
No, it's not really, is it? It's not. No, we've had 5 or 6 really decent performances, some very good results, and we started pushing on. We've had a setback. Hopefully, that's all it is. You know, hopefully we're not having this same conversation on Thursday. The issue we've got this season is, well, yeah, exactly. The issue we've got this season is, I don't think any of us, any of the 3 of us, or anybody in the comments would be surprised if we were having the same conversation on Thursday, given the way this season's gone. I hope we're wrong, obviously, but it won't be surprised. Yeah,
I think so. It's just a blip. Bounce back Tuesday. We'll come back to the Little game in a minute, Tom. But this is Tuesday for the season is for me a massive game, because if you then lose at home or maybe even draw very bad and draw in a poor performance against Cambridge at home, you then went away to Birmingham on Saturday. We are currently 9 points off the playoffs. You could be 15. That's a worst case scenario. You could be 15 points off the playoffs by Saturday evening, and then you're done. You've literally done 9 points as a couple of games, and you're back in it. 15 points, you've done it. It's done and dusted. So it's a really, really big game to react Tuesday and not let that gap. At worst case, don't let the gap increase to the playoffs if you want to have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important game to bounce back from, but and you know, call me pessimist or whatever, but in regards to the season as a whole, we've got a very outside chance of getting the playoffs, and that just means that we have to win every. You know, we can still get playoffs, sure, if we win on Tuesday, but it's such an outside chance, and you can see how we can play. It's an optimistic. If this, you don't want to think the season's for nothing. I think it's that kind of viewpoint, and I just think that there's performances like that where we can have and we lose 4-2 against bottom of the league, and then it's important to get a reaction on Tuesday, sure. But in regards to the season, we just need to keep improving and showing that there's something there. It'd be great to have a late run for the playoffs, but yeah, for me it's an outside shot, and we shouldn't. I don't think we should be talking about in regards to points, how many points off we are. And I think if we get to within 3 points, that's when we should start talking about it. Because now, look, we're 9 points now. We're not in the top half of the table. It's unfortunately. It might seem to some that this is a pessimistic view, but for me, it's a realistic view. And I said it before anyway. We were bound to lose at one point. We weren't going to win every single game up until now, until the end of April. But that's the way that some of our, some people thought that it was going to go. So I think to be realistic about the situation, we just need to look at the next game and get a reaction next game. Because if we don't, then I'm not going to say it'll go toxic again, but it will go back into that slump that we had at the end of 2020, at the end of December. And it's not because we've lost 2. It won't be because of the 2 results. It will be because of the 2 performances and against who they were both against. Yeah. So I think it's important to, we could win very, scrappily against Cambridge and then play really well against Birmingham and lose. And you'd probably prefer you'd prefer that, obviously, but you could then, I don't know. To me, it's about performances now and getting results on the board and getting the confidence back and getting some players in January, because still quiet on that front.
So still pretty quiet, to be fair. Yeah. Noel Justice is dreading going to Birmingham next week. If they feel like that, we're in serious trouble of getting a right hammering. Yes, That is absolutely true. I said earlier, Rotherham are a mediocre team with occasional flashes of something better come up against a team that has more legs than we do and can work out as tactic, and we suffer time and time again. That's fair at the moment. Which we do, the way we play is screams mid-table. It absolutely screams 10th place, 11th place.
Yeah, no, it does.
But again, I say the mix of it. This league's terrible. If you can go if you can go beating in 10 games, which I don't think is ridiculous, you're in it. You're in there because you've won so many. You'll have won so many of those games. We'll never stop talking about the playoffs, Tom. Never stop.
No,
But we're out of things to talk about.
No, I know that's what I mean. If we stop talking about the playoffs, then we settle for a mid-table finish, which you can't do as a fan. I understand why people want to talk about playoffs, but if we're being realistic, it's a very outside chance, isn't there?
It is. Having said that, I've seen that Charlton had 2 games this week, and I think they're now back to 3 points off the playoffs. So that's how crazy this league is. Things can turn that quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I'm not denying that there's a chance. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Look, I'm not pushing the bus this week. The double Wembley party bus. It's not. I'm not pushing it. We're having some time off from that. For the time being. We'll revisit this on Thursday after we've spanked Cambridge 6-0. Then I might be a bit more positive about it. Mick, so let's move on to the transfer business. Lewis Sibley came in on Friday, which is I think we're all happy with that. Mick, does that? I say I'm happy with it, but then we just talked about how is he fitting into the system that we've already got in place, I suppose, is a question. But it's a good start, maybe, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how he pans out. You know, he was highly rated at Derby and went to Oxford, played in Championship a bit, and then he's obviously not getting in their team. So maybe there's an issue in terms of, who knows? I think there's a Derby fan somewhere in the comments. Is it David who was saying earlier on that he's a little bit inconsistent, Sibley? You know, he plays really well, and then you have a couple of games where you don't see him, which sounds a little bit Malik Wilkes-ish. So let's hope they don't both come missing at the same time. We'll see. Difficult one, isn't it? It's a difficult one. You can't really judge on one game, but he has been a highly rated player in his time. So hopefully he can show that.
Yeah, he's getting to that stage of his career now when he's 23, where if he doesn't start finding some consistency now in the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to find himself in League 1 and 2 for the rest of his career. Yeah. This is when he needs to kind of perform. So I suspect and hope for his sake, this is a really important loan for his career to find that consistency and then take himself to the next level. One of the members is also off. Harry says he's also off on the party bus. Could get on the next stop though. Something that Evan said after the post game, Tom, was that we need a few more players. I think he meant 2 or 3 players. We knew that anyway, though, didn't we? We knew that anyway, and it's not a surprise. I think Evan said there was a meeting on today about an extra player as well. Striker and a wide man, the two positions he keeps mentioning, and we joked the other day about not needing a striker, but doesn't look like we do need a striker and a wide man play that McDonald role as well would be massive. Yeah,
but two players scares me because we need 3 or 4. I think it's less than we need. We're going to come out of this transfer window with a net, negative of players, and you can argue that what we've got rid of compared to what we've brought in is an improvement, maybe by the end of the transfer window. Sibley is you discussed him before, obviously a highly regarded player from back in his Derby days, but does he fit the system? Yet to be seen. And it's, you mentioned there a striker because Clark Harris is injured. To me, it still reeks of, sort of, this is my shiny car. When everything else is burning around you, because we have 5 strikers in the squad already as it stands, and you have Coyote, who's technically in the squad, and you have McGuckin out on loan, who's probably maybe as good as who you're going to bring in. I don't know. it's really tough to sort of justify that when you look at that back five has been excellent, but if one of them gets injured, you had Raggett come in who looked absolutely like the slowest player I've ever seen in my whole life. Yeah. Like, it was scary how slow he was. Not to say he didn't have a good game. I'm just putting that out for comedic value. But I just think if one of those players gets injured, you're starting to put, square pegs in round holes, and it's what we've been doing all season. And getting a striker in is, again, to me, I know that Clark Harris is injured and he's probably, wouldn't have played anyway, but you still got Hugo waiting in the wings to come on and play there. You had Green and Wilkes who started there. You had Nombe. You have a lot of striking options, and you don't have many anywhere else options. Sibley came in and started immediately, which, again, like I said, was probably a bad option. And do we even need a wide? Yeah, probably, actually. I was going to say, because the whole in my world, the way that Evans is trying to get his dynamic to work is play Sibley where he's playing Sibley now, but put McWilliams where McDonald is. In my head, that's what's sort of the end game there. And if that's what it is and that's what he wants, then sure. But I think the way that we play and our style is suited for I wouldn't say a rotational team, like, you're changing every player every week, but you're able to bring in quality off the bench, and you're able to sort of start with players who are fit and ready to sort of stake a claim. If you were to look at that squad yesterday, it was yesterday, wasn't it? And think about who you could bring in off the bench. You're looking at Holmes. You need someone who's probably more experienced and better end of the day. Apologies for anyone who's a big Holmes fan, but better than Holmes to come in and play instead of McDonald and give him a rest, and then, give the left back and right back a rest. But we have no depth, no cover in any of those areas. And it's not about bringing in cover. It's not about bringing in depth, but it's about bringing in, players that can affect the game. Whereas if we were to bring in a striker, he might be one of the best that we'll ever have at the club. But at this point, I don't really want that, because we have strikers who are, I mean, I'm going to say playing well, but based on yesterday, maybe not as well as we need. But in the last 5 games have affected games. Nombe, Green and Wilkes have all affected games when they've played. I mean, Green's got a goal and an assist in 3 of his 3 starts or whatever. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, we've got some crap on the bench, and we've not got enough of it on the bench as it stands, and we've not got enough. We've got a decent 11 who are playing week in, week out in a really intense system that aren't being given a break, and I think that showed yesterday. Obviously, everything was bad about that game yesterday, but I think, and it's not an excuse, but I think a lot, for me, it looked like a different team playing. It just looked like a team that was completely devoid of any kind of energy and any kind of commitment to the cause and mobility and athleticism, because maybe they're tired, maybe they weren't up for it, I don't know. But I'm going to lean into they were tired, because I want to believe that on Tuesday there will be a reaction and they'll be a bit more, up for it. But yeah, well, I just, for me, the whole striker search is still bonkers, unless he's planning on using, a Nombe or any of those 3 that I mentioned before, Green, Wilkes or Nombe out wide or in a different position to where they currently are. That's the only thing that would make it make sense to me. But yeah, I mean, we've let go 5-6 players, and we've brought in 1, and we didn't have a big squad to begin with. So for me, it's 2 players is not enough.
No, I think we also at start minimum of 3. Ideally, you want 5 to start with at the start of the month. Bear in mind we'd lost. Sam says 17 players is not enough for anything. It's not, and we said this the other day. 17 players when you got Jordan Hugo, who he looked like a player who not played, didn't he? When his first touch was just so bad when he came on. And Jack Holmes has had the energy seemed to have ripped out of him. He's not the player he was when he kind of started at the start of the season. I don't know if he needs to go out on loan or something like that. But again, then you lose another player which we ain't got available. Ben Hatton obviously was on the bench on Saturday as well. Kelly said we missed Nombe's energy, didn't we? And we did. Yeah, we missed that energy up top, and that Nombe's ability to press and and his goal threat as well. He don't even score those. But Nombe was a big miss. Wilkes and Green didn't link up that they did last week, did they? It wasn't. I know Green scored and assisted, but him and Wilkes didn't work together. It was all kind of individual stuff. There was no link up like there was last week, was there?
There wasn't, but they didn't get the ball to feet very much either, did they? They got a lot of Wilkes were consistently trying to win ball or pluck the ball out of the air one way or another. I think this search for a striker, he wants a big man, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that's my view. He wants a big man. One. So we can go back to, or we can maintain this hoofball part of their setup. I genuinely think that's what he's after, and we've kind of more fallen into having the likes of Wilkes and Green up front rather than out of necessity, rather than out of a desire for a change in the way that we play. That's my view anyway. That necessity being out of the fact that Hugo just don't care. I don't think he's interested, and Clark Harris is either out of form, injured, don't care, interested, or whatever it is, whatever reason Clark Harris is not performing, he wants somebody of that ilk in there so that we can revert back to that. Or he would argue, him and Rayner would argue, add it back into the armoury, that tactic, rather than just trying to play one way. So they're not linking up. No, they didn't yesterday. It'll be different again on Tuesday, hopefully. But without Nombe, it does lack that energy.
It lacks a natural striker because neither Wilkes or Aaron are great strikers, are they?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I don't think they're wanting to go long ball, but I think it's important to have that ability to mix it up. Yesterday when we were out of touch and people are panicking, we do need the out ball, and we didn't have the out ball yesterday. The ball weren't sticking, so it was coming back quite a lot. If you can get somebody who is going to come in and then be able to take the long ball, then that's great. You are right that what can happen when you get Alex Ravelli in is people just pump it long because they see him on top. I found that a lot, and Michael Smith and everybody else that's come in. So it's down to Evans to make sure we don't do that too much, like we were trying to do to Clark Harris in the first place.
Can I wait? And anyone can disagree with me here, but the way that I view how we play is completely based on confidence. Because those first 5 minutes was all at him, played some good football. I mean, Sibley's goal is arguably a good goal, right? Win it in the middle of the park, Wilkes out to Green and a great ball in. It's an arguably good goal. And then as soon as they got their goal back, we just seemed to lose a lot of confidence. And then they got on top, they pressed us. And then as soon as the confidence went, it was the resort back to the hoofball, and it didn't feel like there was tactics at play. And maybe this is what's happened the last 5 games. The players have just got a bit of confidence and a bit of calm about them, and as soon as that comes, their ability and quality came out, and they were just playing based on being able to be good quality players, which on paper they are. But to me, there's still no tactics. There was no defensively. We were crap, but you can sort of see that there's a bit more of an organization there than there was, 3 months ago or whatever. But on the ball, we still, to me, look like a team devoid of ideas. And I know that that's mental because we've scored 4 and then, we still scored 2 against Burton. But to me, it still looks like we don't know how to play. And it seems like we're relying on individual quality too much for my liking, and players like Sibley hopefully will improve that. But I think we still, for me, need a plan. And this is why playoffs for me is completely out of the picture. It's because we don't even, when we play well, and the players look like confident, quality, aggressive, balls in the box, etc. And they look good. But when we don't have, when we have the ball and we're not pressing and we're not particularly playing well, there's still no plan behind actually attacking. And again, I'll use Bolton as an example because sure, they were crap and their players couldn't pass a ball 2 yards, but they had an idea, they had a sort of identity, and I still think we lack that in a sense, because for me, if you have a sort of identity, you can switch, you can turn it around. All you need is to build confidence in the players and tell them that they're good enough. And Everett obviously was never doing that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bolton started getting some good results on the board, because the way that they play is with an identity, and it's sort of even though they were losing by, what was that game in the end? 3-3?
Bolton, 3-1.
3-1. Even though they were 3-0 down at one point, they still played with that same sort of style of play, and it got them their goal. And you can be crap in a game, but as long as you still have, for me anyway, people can agree. But for me, if we have an identity, I think we'll be a lot better in those games where we're not as good. And for me, there was still no identity. This is just my personal opinion.
It takes time, doesn't it? It takes time to build up that identity. This formation's 6 games old. 7 games now? 7, isn't it now? This formation's new setup. It's only 7 games old, and this isn't an evolution of what we did previously, is it? So it's not like we've tweaked this and it's just like this is a transformation.
Yeah,
which we're all fans of. I think we're all fans of this new system and new identity and the idea of we're trying to get towards. But it's new, and there's my comments. There's a fragility. There's a fragility about the entire football club. Never mind anything else. This football club feels like it's on a knife edge. You saw some people kind of went over the top with a loss yesterday. I understand why, because it's a game we all went into expecting to win, but it's frustrating. It's just frustrating. Do you think in terms of yesterday, Mick? Is it something to worry about? I suppose long term, or is it just? I suppose we'll find out Tuesday, maybe, won't we?
Yeah, I'm going to say it. On the basis of one game, it's not obviously not. We've it's our 7th game of the year, and we were beaten in 6 of them, and played really, really well, and beaten some arguably good sides. So no, in and of itself, it's not. It's just a poor performance. But when you look at it in a wider context of the 23 games running up to Boxing Day or New Year's Day or whenever it was, and the similarity in yesterday's performance to the dross that we saw before Christmas, that starts to sort of put up a few red flags, doesn't it? So, but no, I don't think it is. But there has to be a reaction on Tuesday. There has to be, because there just has to be. So we'll have to wait and see. I noticed Richard's put in the comments there about Clark Harris. I didn't realise he was injured. He's not obviously one on the bench. I mean, is that right, calf strain?
We do. I don't think. I listened to me. Evans hasn't said. I think that's the rumour coming out that it's an injury.
And he's going to be out. If it's a calf strain, he's going to be out for ages. His calves are that big; they've got their own postcode, aren't they? So, you know what I mean? It's going to take about 3 years to heal one of them.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. It's look. Let's see what happens. Scott Kensing's been identity for the last 6 games. Just because one poor result doesn't mean we've lost it.
I'm with Scott on that. I think.
I get that, because the identity is high press and this, that, and the other. And when it doesn't work, fine. Like, you can blame it on a number of factors. And again, this is still, you can disagree, but I just think that on the ball, I still think we just lack a little bit of sort of what's the game plan here, because. Like everyone said, we resorted a lot back more to route 1 yesterday, and a lot back more to sort of not being able to have the ball on the floor. There was no calmness, composure to us, and that's fine if that's how we always play. But we've not played like that the past 5 games. We played it with the ball on the floor. We've got it out wide early. We've used fullbacks to cross the ball. And at no point did we do any of that yesterday. And that's what I mean by identity. I don't mean, our identity is still that high pressure, aggressive energy, this, that, and the other. And that's fine. That was sort of there yesterday, just not well. But when we're on the ball, to me, there's still, it feels like the players are sort of doing it themselves. And it's, they're sort of, there's a bit of calmness and composure there with Humphreys and Powell. And the wide players in Powell, James, Rafferty, McDonald can get balls in the box and cause issues. And obviously with the high press, you win the ball up high as well, which helps. And obviously one thing links to the other, and that's fine. But still, for me, we're still lacking a little bit of attacking creativity and sort of, a know-how about how we're playing. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that will change. But for me, it went back to what we didn't like far too quickly. For me to think that that's been embedded yet. And maybe you are right, Matt. It's been 8 games, so maybe it's just a stumble and a fall,
Yeah, what I would say, although I thought we were really good against Lincoln and pretty good against Huddersfield, we'd lacked that edge that you're talking about on the ball. We weren't able to create anything, and we were definitely missing that. I think those wins over Huddersfield, over Charlton and Bolton, maybe paper over the crack a little bit. We absolutely lack some creativity. Hopefully that's what Simba's going to bring in. But you're right, we absolutely lack an idea going forward if it's not crossing. I think we've improved the crossing. I think that's significantly improved prior to Saturday. Powell's ball in the box the last few games has been excellent, but we haven't had anybody who's able to unlock the door really, and that's I think you're right. It didn't help also. So we created plays. Cameron was off it yesterday, well off it. We mentioned Joe Powell's created well off it yesterday. Sibley's first game, they scored a goal, but other than that, didn't really impact the game too much. So the kind of three players you're relying on were all well below par.
But I hope that yesterday doesn't mean that we won't keep playing like that, because in the past we've been known to completely revert back to basics, and I hope we don't. I hope we play with the same sort of style on Tuesday, but we'll just show up.
Worst case scenario is that we start how we finished on Saturday. If that happens, I'll be really disappointed. He's got to have the faith in the system that's been working. He's just got to. And I think he will, to be fair. Anything else on the Burton game that we need to mention? Anything else on that? No. We were rubbish, basically. Tuesday night we have Cambridge. On the Saturday we played Burton, who were the worst home team in the league. On Tuesday we've got Cambridge, who are the worst away team in the league.
Oh no!
A little bit of something there. Burton came into the game on the back of a victory. Cambridge would go into this game on the back of a victory. They went 3. Having said outside of it, they went 3-0 up at home to Mansfield and very nearly threw it away. So maybe they aren't as steely as Burton are. But Mick, going back to what we mentioned, that's the as a fan base as where we are. I think it's important we stick to the plan and don't waver too much. Even if we lose again, if we're 2-0 at half time, I don't think we will be. Stick with it. Don't go change it. Just change the personnel if you need to change it. Really, I want to see this system continue because I think it was just a blip.
It'd be interesting to see, won't it? Because we had a couple of opportunities earlier on in the season to play slightly differently. Can't remember which game it was where we ended up going 1-0. We were playing really well, knocking the ball about, playing as we are now. Crawley, went 1-0 down, and we panicked straight away at half time and changed it completely and just started hooping it long again. So who knows? With Evans and Rainey, you just don't know, do you? We'll have to see. But I'm with you. We need to continue. It's done us really, really well so far. We've had a blip. We'll get back to it. It makes a change for us not to be the team with the worst away record in the league. It's the first time in I don't know how many seasons that's we've not had that accolade. Don't know whether I'm disappointed or not, to be honest.
We've still got the 3 p.m. Saturday curse, though, haven't we? That's still
well, whatever. We'll keep that for a bit till Saturday.
We're to, aren't we? It's got Birmingham next Saturday, so that's not going to change then, is it?
Fair point.
So, never say never.
No, that's true. That's true. We are going to get John on for the scout report, for the Birmingham scout report. That'll be out standard. We have spoken to Cambridge. We spoke to Jordan from under the Abbey stand. That shall be out tomorrow. We're going to release that Monday morning ahead of the Cambridge game, obviously on Tuesday, to find out about them, Gary Monk, and how things are going at Cambridge at the moment. It's tight at the bottom. All 4 teams in the bottom 4 have got exactly the same points. All 6 points from safety. So it's really, really tight around there. And this is the time of the season where those teams become difficult to play against because they're fighting for their lives, really. If they win, they can be within 3 points of safety. It'd be a massive, massive win for Cambridge to go back-to-back as well. So, ref watch is Ross Joyce, referee on Tuesday. He last refereed us in the Fleetwood game in the Cup. Can't remember anything from that game, so I'm sure somebody will tell me. I think there was something wrong in that game, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But you mean other than the way that we played?
Other than the way that we played, yeah. Other than that. Yeah.
I can't.
Last, we have got a pretty good record against Cambridge at home anyway. No loss unbeaten to them since 1985. So a pretty good question. Pretty good question. Pretty good record against them from there. This is where Tom, I'd normally go to you and say, well, would you change it? Would you put this guy in or this guy in, or would you do this, that, and the other? What is there to do? If it's anything other than unchanged, I'd be surprised. The only question is if Nombe is fit enough. That's the question for me.
Yeah, and I think you would start him because I think we do lack a bit of energy up there. And other than, I mean, it depends who we sign, right? We might, probably not, but we might sign someone tomorrow, and they may be in with a shout of playing on Tuesday as well. But this, again, where our issues lie, there's not many things you can change, especially if you're staying with the same formation, which we really should. There's not much that we can do. You can maybe bring Nombe back in and drop Wilkes or Green, but honestly, if it's me, I'd try and play Wilkes instead of McDonald and then put Nombe up front. To me, that makes a bit more sense. Wilkes might not be as what's the word? Disciplined. Sorry, yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, he might not be as disciplined as McDonald, but I think he'll offer a bit more creativity and he'll offer pace to kind of get out to the wide areas and sort of see what we've been lacking a little bit, be able to drive from deeper. For me, it sort of makes a bit of sense, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see who's fit in all honesty. But yeah, currently as it stands, you don't change anything, and you sort of you give, as from Evans, you give the players a bollocking and you expect them to turn it around on Tuesday. And I'd be like you said before, Matt, I'd be disappointed if we started with what we finished with, because it's admitting to a backward step, which this isn't. It's a blip. Let's not let me rephrase that. Let's make this a blip. Let's not make it a backward step. Let's win on Tuesday and prove to fans and players that it was just a blip, and that happens in football. You can have off days, and we just had a collective off day. Let's prove that.
I also think those players have earned a chance as well. This is not 11 players who have been rubbish and coasted by. They've all earned a chance to get to make it right for themselves. On Tuesday, I hope, but we'll have to wait and see. Mark Edwards says, "Do we know about John Clark-Harris? Wasn't in the squad Saturday for injury? Yeah, he's apparently about his calf injury, but I don't think there's a timescale on that. Nombe was touch and go for yesterday, so you hope there's a chance he'll be available to play some part on Tuesday. Somewhere that Evans, I think, would like to make a change, Mick, if he can, is to bring Raggett back in. I think he would like to bring Sean Raggett in because I think he just likes Sean Raggett. He is a threat in the opposition box. Just conceding 4 at Burton, give him the way to do that. As kind of a justification. I don't think it should, but could you see that happening?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, it'd be stupid. The only way you bring him in is if you play a back 5, because otherwise he's just going to get exposed. He got exposed on Saturday, and he had the Burton player who strolled past him been any good, then he would never have got anywhere near him. I agree with you. I think he does like Raggett. He's a good old fashioned centre half, isn't he? Yeah. He's a good old fashioned 1970s centre half. Or go and edit. But unfortunately, we're not in the 70s anymore. And we've got strikers, even in this league, who will absolutely tear him a new one for pace. I think he likes him, and I think he likes that kind of player. And if he could bring in the equivalent type of centre forward, he'd do that as well. Because that's in my view, and this is only my view. I'm not saying this is a fact. That's the kind of football that Rayner and Evans kind of aspire to. A big man up front, a couple of big men at back, and oof it between them, essentially. Not quite that bad, but you know what I mean. I think he probably would like to bring him back. and it would be an absolute travesty to drop either of those two centre halves.
Yeah. Question on that: could you see him drop in one of the midfielders for Hacks? Is the only thing I can see.
Oh,
yeah, I did think that, but the only you'd have to drop Sibley or Powell, wouldn't you?
Well, you could drop McDonald and put him out there. I don't know.
I don't know. You might. I suppose he's a natural right back. He should be able to play right hand side of a midfield.
I don't know. It'll be I agree with you though. I think he's itching at the bit to give Raggett a go.
Not quick enough.
No,
it's not quick enough. It's as simple as that. You know, he can.
That's not a problem in itself, is it?
Well, he can edit and he can cause problems in both boxes. That's it. However, the rest of it, he's just nowhere near. He's not in the same league as the other two. Not even close.
He isn't. No, again, we come back to Woody's situation. Woody was probably slower than Raggett, and Woody was rubbish in a four. And rubbish is probably not fair, but he was poor in a four because it was quite easy to isolate. If you're playing Sean Raggett, you've got to play him in a five with Joel Hacks next to him. But if you play a five, that changes everything. That goes back on everything you've been trying to do. Yeah. So that's the only way he gets back in. And I could see it happening, to be honest with you. I could see a change. I would be completely against it, but I could see a change.
You'd argue you play him in a five, then it solves your problem of width as well. So I wouldn't be against it. But the only reason I would be against it is because each time we played a five this season so far, we've been absolutely awful. Awful. So I don't know. Who knows?
But then if you're going to play a five back, you can't play Powell and Sibley at middle because then you're quite lightweight in middle.
Yeah.
Don't know. We just don't know, and we'd see. Scott Kent says if I'd play Nombe out wide if they were fit for McDonald's. I think I'd do what Tom says and put Wilkes out there. If Nombe's fit, play him as a striker because we need his energy up top and we need a striker playing up front is what we need. As radical as that seems. That's what I would probably do. Play a striker up top. But what do we know? We're not professionals, as we all know. Let's go for predictions. Nobody scored any points on Saturday because we were all arrogantly.
That's one thing I'm happy about. I was like, nobody predicted a 4-2 loss, did they?
No, they didn't. No, even Edward from the Brewers Bubble went for a draw.
Oh, right.
So absolutely nobody went for it. So points still the same after 26 games. That hasn't been updated. Right. So predictions that we have so far are Kev has gone for 3-0 because Kev does 3-0. Joy has gone for 4-1. So Joy has gone for it this week. There's goals. I suppose there's been goals at last few games, aren't there? So that's that could happen. Ben has gone for 2-0 again. No, it's changed to 2-0. Danny's gone for 2-1. All victories so far. Tom, you're next up on the list. What do you reckon?
I hope that there's a proper bounce back here, and I think there will. We're at home. I think Evans will absolutely have laid into them. I'm going to go 3-1.
3-1, like it. Not trusting the clean sheet.
Not currently.
Fair enough. Mick?
I'm going with Kev. I think I'm going to be positive. I'm going to remain positive, and I'm going to go 3-0. I think we will keep a clean sheet. I've no idea, quite frankly. We could lose 3-0 and all. Can I? If we lose 3-0, can I have some points for that? I just said 3-0. I didn't say 2-2.
No. Let's try though.
Such a scumbag way. Such a scumbag.
He's not scored enough points recently. He's desperate. He's getting desperate.
Yeah. He sees me catching up in his.
Well, I'm looking on my shoulder now.
Yeah.
Paul Rhodes thinks 1-1. Harry says he's going to be a 1-0 scrappy, boring loss. YouTube says that's 4-0 to us. Steve Williams says 4-0. Scott Kent says 4-0. Chris Taylor says 1-2, back to the old ways. Fisherman Sid says 3-1. Darren Cook 2-0. The January Egg says 3-2. Powerman's going for 3-3.
Wow.
Wisher says awful scrappy 1-0. Steve and Mike the Miller both going for 2-1. It's get back on the horse. Let's get back on this, and hopefully we can get the positivity riding back through our veins. And anything can happen. Not anything can happen at Birmingham, but we'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge on Thursday. So yeah, thank you all for being with us. The instant reaction will be out on Tuesday evening, straight after the game, or relatively quickly after the game. So make sure you subscribed on YouTube to get that when it's there. Also, the scouting report will be up tomorrow morning to talk to Under the Abbey stand about Cambridge and their chances of staying up and how they see things. We have a bit of a chuckle about Sam Numby's backside helping us winning back in whenever that was. Make sure you subscribe if you're listening on if you're watching it on YouTube, and give the video a thumbs up if you're watching in the comments as well. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, make sure you follow and subscribe or whatever it tells you to do. Anything else, fellas?
No.
Nothing from me.
Superb. Make sure you get us an update for the chocolate orange.
Chocolate orange egg. I'm on it, mate. I shall make it my sole purpose in life this week.
Yeah, we got nothing else to do, so that's fine.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. I'll team up, mate. You knock him in.
Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you all next time. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the
Millers.
I think I always made the comment that once a Miller, always a Miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office, and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favor, drop me off in